everybody, and namaste. And I'm very, very happy and honored to be with you and to meet you. It's a new group that I'm meeting now. And I'm thanking my friend, Dr. Gautam, who made that possible. Me. Yeah, so I grew up in the family of doctors and priests, and I started the medicine interest since I was very early, and also having my first spiritual experiences in the same time, since early age. And it was a big burning question, about what is our place in the universe, what happens after dying, what really looks a healthy person, because the more I was looking around me, the more I saw that this is not complete healthy persons, from so many perspectives. And then I also had the chance to travel and to work in various countries. It was very interesting, the question, where is my home? That was always an interesting question, because I could really feel home in so many places in the world. And then when I met Professor Goswami 7 years ago in Bangalore, actually, I was invited to be part of another university, which didn't happen at the time. So it was a very interesting process. Immediately, something clicked, because I realized it was the quantum language and the principles that were so much part of what I'm looking for, that integration between science and spirituality. Yeah. And I studied various traditions also, especially the Hindu tradition, which I love very much, and the Christian one. And yes, so I'm still keeping my medicine practice and see patients now mainly online, but also wherever I travel. But I'm mostly passionate now about the education system, because if you take a look what's happening, so this higher education, which was defined, the Vedic wisdom tradition in India millennia ago, and it was supposed to be this light of knowledge that is removing the darkness of ignorance of the base level human condition, right? And then we get to both of our lovely speakers before they said, this state of real health. And again, the wisdom traditions, they are similar in spirit to this original version of India, and even not so elaborate, were discovered and developed in other places, in Greece, in China, Middle East. But then still this one shortcoming of this higher or lower division of education was this denigration of the world, because again, it became so much just information processing and job training. And this is not about the quantum brain and about our possibilities that we really, really have, It's not about just surviving or just doing a job, and even be social cultural, if you want. So this is the education that exists now today, and it's even moving even more towards only survival needs and ignoring all the higher needs, which is creating this chaos that we live in, right? So that's why I'm very much passionate about what we do now. We have a master and PhD school, which is including proximity training in India, but actually it's more mainly online, so it's international. And we want to kind of restore the pursuit of higher needs and to ensure this continuation of higher purpose of human development. Yeah, so shortly, that's the travel, but I've been through a lot. I learned myself through my own sufferances, even through diseases, and of course, looking into my relations and my families, but also practicing with courage and curiosity at all the levels that I got the chance to do it.
Wow, that's great to know, Dr. Valentina. Now we actually give you the platform. We would like you to speak to us, present your PPT or whatever you want to explain to us. Yeah, you're most welcome now.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just go because it's a lot of talk, and I recommend whoever is interested to just get the book. It's available also in India, and it's not expensive, or the ebook even. It's called The Quantum Brain. And you mentioned Dr. Deepak Chopra, and actually Amit wrote the book Quantum Doctor. Also there you start understanding about the healing process, including the brain level, but now you just mentioned the quantum integrative medicine. Yes, it is in press, so it will be published in March, and that's actually a few steps forward from that Quantum Doctor book, which indeed the term quantum healing came together with Dr. Deepak Chopra, but we took further everything that Amit presented in his book, The Quantum Doctor. Yeah. So now to get to the point of this talk, because it's just a short time that we have, Quantum, everybody heard the word quantum. Nowadays, it is a lot misused as well, many times. So it refers to the discrete quantity of energy or matter, when you say quantum. So for matter, we call it elementary particle, and for energy, quantum. And when we say quantum brain, we speak about when the brain takes a quantum leap, so when that happens, it becomes coherent in those moments, You heard about this coherence, right? So after a quantum leap, the brain becomes coherent in different parts, and this has been proved in neuroscience. And this coherent brain actually is the signature of quantum movement. And this has been demonstrated already through fMRIs, which show that different parts of the brain really, they move together. They move in synchrony when we have a quantum leap, or actually also in a highly spiritual person. And we'll speak about spirituality also if we have time. Let's see. Because another book that you can find in India is called Quantum Spirituality, that again, I wrote together with Professor Goswami. And it gives another understanding a little bit about this integration in science and spirituality. So now, I don't know if everybody is familiar with the principles of quantum science, but we'll not have time to go through that. Just to mention that the quantum leap, which I mentioned, is about the discontinuous change in the movement. It's an electron, how the electron jumps without passing through intermediate space. So again, when we say quantum brain, we speak about this, the fact that a brain physiology, the same with the physiology of the heart and navel, where, by the way, also there are brain formations, the discovered neurons, as many of you know. This also can change. So the physiology in the brain can change when we take a quantum leap, instead of just relying on thinking, on even our intuitions to get to consciousness directly. Because that's the quantum principles, again, they speak about these paths to reconnect to the consciousness. So again, these quantum leaps, when they are manifested properly, when we build the software, we speak about hardware, the physical structure, and the software, the function. So when we build this software, it changes us, transforms us, if you want, from just having a superficial passing interest in something to developing what is called genuine curiosity. So this genuine curiosity has been, it's described as a genius thing. People are wondering why some people have it and some people don't. All the great researchers in science, great artists, great masters of spirituality, they all had this curiosity, how the universe works, how all this is connected, how is my own connection with the universe. So all these questions, it's curiosity, real curiosity, and again, they ask these questions again and again, fueling this fire of aspiration there. So again, the mental function, which is the major physiological function of the cortex, that function seems to get an overhaul. The result is enormous, because for a person who is curious in that way, mental health will always be there. So we don't get to Alzheimer nowadays. It's amazing. Like Amit just told me the other day, Professor Goswami, that he just read that there was the youngest age when they discovered Alzheimer, and the person was 19. So just imagine what's happening with our mental capacity. And then you wanted to say something? Okay.
No, that's
So, and in this book, you will also find explanations again about all the chakras and the things that we speak about the chakras. Everybody heard about chakras. It's another huge subject to discuss, but also about what is called the midbrain. The midbrain, you can call it a chakra also, or even a self. And it's a lot of corrections from what the materialists misconceived when they say unconscious. There's another meaning in quantum science. When we speak about memory and how it's developed also in a child, also all this capacity to develop what is called expansion of consciousness, and why. So this book, I will see it's quite easy, but it's giving a lot, So because again, usually we are only thinking, we do everything just with the thinking, we just plan, and we just venerate just thinking, as we think that this is the best way. We are so intelligent, and then we just divide everything in superior, inferior, this is good, this is bad. So comparison everywhere, competitivity, it's never a free thinking. It's just about past things when we are in that way, So again, we just need to know how all these brains actually work in our beings, because again, it's not just this brain, it's also the other brains that we need to develop and become aware of them. So it's no need of hacking, no need to break the wall, because the door is open, but we don't even know that there is a door, We know that in theory that we all have these potentials, but how to awaken these potentials, We have to again start seeing where we are first of all, And again, we use 3-4% kind of usually, if we call ourselves intelligence, consciously of the brain capacity. So imagine what's happening with the rest, with the 95%, which is definitely underused. I mean, if we don't use even 5% of the muscles of the arm, see what's happening, yeah? So, or in the digestive system, what's happening also, which is very important, again, to take a look. So again, the idea is not to add something, you can become as smart as nature, maybe, but again, often we try to add something to life, and it's not how these things work. We just create another problem in that way. So yes, we have conscious to infinite new potentiality, and you also have access to what is called unity consciousness, and that I to access infinite new potentiality. But we need to see from where we start and how we go around it, because again, you do it through using the mind to process new meaning, out of other people's meaning or your own old meaning. Usually that's what we do. So, okay, we do it best by using intuition and follow through exploring the creative process, You again read the book Quantum Creativity if you want to understand the creativity and quantum science of manifestation. It's again something to really go through that, but before, like, I'm just going to tell you, I'm just checking the clock also because I know the time will just fly fast, So what to start with is to pay attention to see what is the relation between attention and choice, because these are again very important whenever you want to heal or you want to transform, which is again the same with the awakening to this potential that we all have. So we speak from here, when we develop what is called quantum attention, we speak about intention and choice. You heard about neuroscience. It's also neuroscience of attention, got already a lot of research. So what we do, we need to what is called rewiring the brain, to build these new circuits of meaning processing. That's the thing. So if you see nowadays so much Alzheimer problems, or dementia, it's because the meaning was cut out from our life, So we just want quick fixes and again, information processing. We lost the meaning of things, So we need again to rewire the brain to build the circuits of meaning processing and new meanings to explore. And then to engage with what we call pure feelings in the body. Now, again, here, most of you know about yoga and about the chakras and all that. Again, it helps the practices that can take you to have some awareness and on the chakras as well. They help us connect with what we call pure feelings in the body. And then explore what we call the archetypes that are related to your dharma. All right. Then to balance, learn how to balance, of course, the inner, the outer, transcendent, immanent, also the male-female dichotomies. So we have to be aware how many dichotomies we really have, But again, the first thing to look at is attention, because again, of course, attention is best when things are clear. And we pay attention usually to what we have experienced before. There's a kind of conditioning which is created there, right? So attention, again, is actually a characteristic of the genius, because the genius can pay attention to the unknown as well. An average person, if you're not attentive, you may not even notice if a quantum leap took place, and if you see an unknown something. But the genius will and even become aware. Yeah, somebody has to.
I request all to keep their mics on mute, please.
Yeah, so Thank you. So again, if we want to have any kind of discoveries, we have to train attention, yeah, and especially if you want to transform, because then only you can set up an intention, an intent. Again, you must have heard about science of manifestation, and you may have read that book or the movie, The Secret, which is not really giving the secret. Because again, before getting in setting an intention, you need to have this attention, and also you have to do it from an inspired state. Yeah. So, but again, in an intent to just really a pure intent and honest intent to awaken to your potentiality, that will again help. It can help set you on a new trip. You know, if you really maintain this intention and if it's pure there. Yeah. But for example, again, you see so much anxiety, so much depression, so much ADHD, which is again a sure sign of a person who lost the capacity of attention. Yeah, yeah, because we cannot exert the free will. You know, there's no free will there. Actually, the free will starts when we develop the supramental level of our being. You know, but again, willpower that comes with the freedom to choose from a certain conditioning and self-respect. Yeah, so. It's again a very open mind to see when consciousness delivers the answer has to be there. Yeah. So attention, I suggest everybody to look at this lack of attention, which is serious business. Yeah. All right. That's to start with. Now, if you want, I can even tell you an exercise for that, because again, that's to start with. It's part of what is called mental hygiene. So all this is just preparatory stages. Yeah.
Just a minute, Dr. Valentina, before we go further, there is a question. When you say 95% brain is unused, does it include all types of brain? This is a question from Mr. Pradeep Doshi.
Well, yeah, I mean, usually there's just a number there, but it's just to show that we are really not using our potential. Like if we are using even 7%, we are genius. So just realize that we are really not using all this capacity, you know. And again, when we say brain, we say not just this brain, yeah. So if you want, if we have time to speak about the chakras, we'll talk a little bit. But if not, just now, so you have the 7 main chakras, yeah. And out of them, we speak about brains at the level of Manipura chakra, the navel area, the heart area. Check the researches of HeartMath Institute in California. They did a lot of research about this. And here, but actually also here, yeah. So all these are actually really brain formations. We speak about selves there. It's about also memory making capacity in these areas. You know, the abdominal, as to start with, that's the first, it's called, even called the abdominal brain. It's the emotional brain, if you want. But it's very essential to develop it. Now I'm just going into these practical things with you, especially by women, because men kind of natively, they have some help with that. If you look to a man, they are using even breathing, using the belly, you know. We as women, or that would be an exercise for us to even just relax the abdomen consciously, and all massages also on empty stomach. There are exercises in yoga, or at least do abdominal breathing, you know, like we simply breathe in and out, and make sure you can keep the hands on the abdomen, and make sure that the abdomen also is moving with your breathing, yeah, and also maintain your attention there, because there's something very important in yoga, that wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. Yeah. So in this way, you will help activate and purify this area, and not enough. This will not be enough. Yeah. You need more things. And of course, it's a brain which is very much related with the self-trust there. Yeah. With having the courage to transform, the courage to love. For everything, we need courage. And also this process of transformation, which is also an awakening process. Actually, it's part of what is called the hero's journey. In the process, we also become aware of our shadows, of all our constrictions, and when did we build them? Was it traumatic events in past lives? In the book, you will find a lot of discussions about trauma also, yeah, and also about children, yeah, how we can help our children if we have them. Okay, so that's one of the brains. Then the heart brain, again, is very, very important, yeah, and all of them actually. So it's a lot to just sit and understand that yes, we usually don't function only as if you have a car, you have a speed race car, you know, a race car, and you just go keeping the brake on, you know. So what will happen? Of course, like at some point the car will be smashed, you know. So eventually we have to see and where we are and where do we want to go. Do we want to really just live in this way, mostly reacting to things, or we want to act and co-create our life? That's how we can co-create our life once we start checking where we are, you know, attentively. Yeah. Okay, so again, all this talk and the quantum brain and all that we do, it's a part of a transformational process, yeah, which is, if you want, the quantum self is a journey of increasing intelligence, which means also increasing health and happiness together with us, yeah? Because again, happiness, what is happiness? It's expanded consciousness, right? So again, if we choose to explore increasing levels of intelligence, we also explore increasing levels of happiness, or ananda in Sanskrit, right? But then on the other hand, you have to become aware of, for example, of the fact that emotions such as anger, violence, competitiveness, domination, fear, jealousy, all that, there are this, in the religious traditions, we see this as negative emotions in the domain of the evil as opposed to the good, you know. And even in neuroscience, we have discovered places in the brain's interior middle, you know, it's called the limbic brain, you know, and they are called the negative emotional brain circuits. So we have to be aware that we all have them, yeah? It's part of our ancestry. Now, our job is to see these circuits, but in the same time, develop the positive ones, yeah? And again, the fact is that it will be 5 times more difficult to develop the positive ones, to really make them stable. So this negative emotional brain circuits, when we discover them, is the source of all these negative emotions, yeah? Which, of course, they create stress and chronic disease, cancer, heart disease, autoimmune disease, all that, yeah? So again, the effort will be, you know, to do it 5 times stronger, and that's where we need real creativity, and also we need perseverance, of course, and we need something to inspire us. So it's easier to do this when you have love in your life, for example, speaking about this brain, the heart area, yeah? All right. So now about the awakening of this intelligence, again, that is not just the lower intelligence at all, you know. We use what is called creativity, you know. So again, we have to learn how to create these positive, noble emotional brain circuits in order to release all these instinctual negative emotions that we all have. We have to understand that we really all have this, you know, and not be bashful about, you know, just accept it and see what you can do about that, you know. Because again, the awakening of intelligence can begin to take place in the brain once we take a look at this, you know, so, and make the choice to transform. Yeah, because again, we can live the life of a robot if you want. That's why all this artificial intelligence is coming up so quickly, yeah? And it wants to really take on so many jobs of people, you know, but it's more, because we ourselves, we become so much robotic and just information processing. Again, so, or you can try to bring the juice again in your life, you know, you can try to do it in various ways, looking for pleasure, let's say, in so many ways, eating, drinking, sexual stuff, and so on. But again, all that actually is going to be still unsatisfactory, you know, for a long run, and will even lead to addiction. Yeah. So this is low-level intelligence. Yeah. And when we say higher intelligence, it's not only to use what you have, you know, what you're born with, but also to explore what is available to you as potentiality. Yeah. So, and here the quantum worldview has good news, you know, because again, if you insist on understanding the information to explore your own personal meaning, you are turning on your causal power, which is the freedom to choose. And that's the beginning, yeah? Because we really do have access to infinite new potentialities, you know? Again, you also have to access your unity consciousness. That's why all the meditations that I'm sure all this group has it already in the program, yeah? So that to access the infinite new, that's from where you can access the new potentiality, actually, you know? And you can do it through using the mind to process new meaning, again, out of other people's meaning or your old meaning. You can start with that, yeah? But it's still old meaning and it's not your own until it is, until you get to your meaning. Yeah, and then again, you can use your intuition, follow through, exploring the creative process. Yeah, you can do it by learning to engage your heart, but in a conscious way. Yeah, and again, if you're not afraid of the unknown, if you're not afraid of discipline, then creativity will come easily. Yeah, so it's also, we speak in quantum science about what is called do, be, do, be. So we need to learn to do, which requires great focus, and also be, which requires relaxation. Yeah, so all these are part of creativity. If you don't know to relax, also you will not get to all those possible quantum leaps of healing or whatever reward is there on your way to creatively awaken to higher intelligence. Yeah, because again, this reward, of course, is called happiness. There are increasing levels of happiness as we learn to explore the increasing levels of intelligence. Yeah, and also we have to see this crisis that is happening today, no matter where, you know, because we have overdone this separateness. Yeah, so we need to learn how to integrate the mundane and what is also sacred, you know, and happiness, ego needs, and higher needs. And yes, we can, you know, because usually in spiritual traditions, which I also grew with in various ways, the ego needs are not taken in consideration. You just want to kill the ego. So in quantum spirituality, if you read that book, you will see the other kind of approach. Yeah. So again, we have to see that this is a rational mind era today for both women and men, you know, dominated by the thinking life, you know, especially men, but also women. And then we speak, and also you will see in the book about how to nourish all your bodies, you know, including the mind. But again, you have to see that the two important problems that the brain develops in processing of the mind in traditional child development are the following. Yeah, one, hyperactivity or lack of concentration, and that's where you have to start. Actually, this is to be improved with concentration meditation. Yeah, and then two is an intellectualism, which is producing a contracted consciousness. Yeah, and then you practice awareness meditation. We'll practice today something. Yeah, so again, these are the first 2 points to start with. Yeah, to understand. And then having gained some control over your mind, then you pay attention to the vital body. And here comes what I call quantum yoga, what we call quantum yoga, or whatever practices you have. Can be Tai Chi, can be Qigong, can be various practices, again, but with the proper attention to the chakras, to the flow of the energy, yeah, to the vital energy. Because again, all your awareness of vital energy comes from instinctual emotions, you know, we call them feeling, with what we perceive at the level of chakras, mixed with thought. So again, in order to discover the positive emotions, you know, which again, it takes this 5 times effort, conscious effort, more than what we have already. You know, for example, you can start with laughing meditation. You know, when you laugh, your belly is moving, and you know, the better you laugh, the better it can be. You know, that's an idea. But I'm sure you have other practices as well. Or even just again relaxing, singing in the shower. Of course, in India, people are more sweet, more relaxed. You know, in that way. It's very interesting for me to be here, and because I'm very much connected with India from past lives, definitely. But it's a different state of spirit altogether, and I'm really happy to be here. Now again, so the question is, are you more than your brain? Yeah, and again, you can be if your consciousness is beyond the brain. Yeah. So there is a lot of debate that you will see in the book between the materialist science, brain scientists, you know, with all the debates there. So it's a lot. Again, you will find in the book also what's happening exactly given by neuroscience. All the data is there. I'm not going to go through that now. But again, learning to what's happening with these negative emotions is the very first step. Okay, let me just lay out for you the base level human condition. Again, that's again to start with, but even to start with, it's essential. You know, if we start from this point, there's great chance to move very well, you know. So the first thing is that we all have a quantum self and ego, the I and me polarity. Yeah. And right now, all this worldview and the cultures, they are pulling us more towards the me pole, you know, so towards the ego. Yeah, so we have become transactional, or the consciousness is constricted and so on, you know. So this me that each of us develop, you know, is actually a borrowed me. So that ego that we speak of is borrowed. It's borrowed from others via processing other people's meaning as information. Yeah. So again, in this way, our individuality is no more than a statistical homogeneity, if you want, which is determined and predictable. So if you speak about quantum brain, there's nothing like that. Yeah. There is, again, is this current epidemic of information processing at the expense of meaning processing. Yeah. So how to pass through that? For example, don't give your kids so much a tablet or a phone when you don't have time to play with them. I know it's tricky because nowadays we have to work so much and we don't have time for them. But if you do that, you know, you're destroying their brains and their potentials since they are kids. Yeah, even if they don't even need to pass through traumatic experience. This is enough for them to feel that they are disconnected. You don't offer them that connection that they need, especially in the first 7 years of age. Yeah. So again, pay attention to this information processing, which again, if you do it from an early age, it's not going to be well. You know, it's dumbing down all the brain, yeah, and the capacities, because again, eventually you go towards me-centeredness and superficiality, obviously, but not at all happiness. Then the second part is the fact that we have these negative emotion brain circuits built in the brain, and part of them seems to be instinctual, you know, and it's unconscious triggered by immediate survival related action. And yeah, so again, it's also about imagination, which is not the best used here, which again, it's here in this case, it can make us misuse these negative emotional brain circuits and cause even more mental stress. Yeah. Okay. Then the third thing is that we have pleasure circuits, which are giving us dopamine, endorphin, and other molecular high when they are activated. And then we get the word addiction. Yeah. So again, addiction can be to so many things. You know, it's not just to drugs. You know, it can be addiction to internet, not to mention porn. It can be addiction to sufferance even. You know, it's very interesting. So again, for reasons of survival during evolution, the brain has taken over the control over instinctual feelings connected with the lowest three chakras, yeah, which relate to maintenance of the body, sexual reproduction. And then the heart chakra is about love. The brain seems to have instinctualized at least two kinds of love, which is maternal love and romantic love, and maybe even a third, which is a form of altruism. Then you'll find about the mirror neurons that enable us to mirror and experience that another person in our immediate environment is experiencing, and that enables us sympathy and the sympathetic response. That's called altruism. By the way, that's another thing that you will see. It's about discussing about this brain, the heart brain. Yeah. And then speaking about these positive feelings that we need to awaken, it's again going back to the chakras, that all the chakras, when they are fully open, which is, I never saw a person with all the chakras open, but again, all the chakras will connect us with positive, noble feelings. Again, for example, courage, when connected with the first chakra, but also the third one, libido or life force, which is connected with the sexual chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, self-love, self-respect in the navel area. There's just a few words. You know. Then unconditional love at the heart chakra, the joy of creative learning, expression also at the throat chakra, clarity, satisfaction, following up intuition with creative insight, the brow chakra, yeah, and detachment from the physical body, the crown chakra. And so for these noble feelings, there are no instinctual brain circuits. No, yet, not yet. Yeah, that's why we speak about this so much. Yeah. So again, unlike the negative counterparts, there are few built-in brain circuits which are connected with the positive feelings in our normal human condition. Yeah. And again, the fact is that religions think that compassion for others comes naturally to us, you know. But actually compassion is universally available for us, but only as potentiality, you know. So also in love, we say with our lover, with our husbands, wives, and whatever, we say that we are one. Again, we are not one. We are one. You know, it's a potential which is available. You have to activate this potential. You have to choose to activate it. And in a relationship, of course, it's good to do it often. Yeah. So again, as we explore, we experience, and we live all these positive, noble emotions, you know, these feelings at the higher chakras, especially, and the meaning that the mind will give to them, for example, compassion or love, of course, we will create memories of them. And that's why we call positive emotion brain circuits, because eventually they will become the memories for us, you know. So again, that's a crucial part of our transformation. Yeah, and then again, you will see now again, we have, I have very few minutes left with you, but you will read in the book about the archetypes, which are again part of our Dharma. And we speak about the archetypes, especially profession related. But again, it's ideally is to live in a state of having coherence between the way we think, we live, also we earn our, you know, our money and everything. So it should be in the same direction if you really want to live healthy. Yeah.
So actually, Dr. Valentina, since you were discussing about the books, there is one question. There are many books on quantum healing. Can you recommend the sequence of books one can read on the subject, starting with basic concepts and then going deeper into the subject? Which one we should read first to understand the basics, and then we should go deeper and deeper? So how do you recommend which book we should read first?
Okay, so I recommend you to just, today is what day? It's end of February soon. So on 14th of March, there will be out this new book that I recommend, is the Quantum Integrative Medicine. And that's, again, that would be, I think, that would be really good, even if, I mean, even if it's not mine, but it is mine, yeah. But even if it wouldn't be mine, I would still recommend that. It's a really good book. And then if you want, you can start with Quantum Doctor, which Amit wrote. But then again, in this, yeah, that's a good start also. Start with the Quantum Doctor. You find it, I don't know if you find it in India, in Amazon, probably you will, I'm not sure. If not, you find it as ebook. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope they got the answer. The first book they should read is the Quantum Integrative Medicine.
I think so.
Yes. Yes. And second one will be
the Quantum
Doctor. Yes. And then further the other books, there's like the Quantum Brain, and then the coming one, the Quantum Science of Love and Relationships. Okay, to start with this.
That's not ready. But again, if you want, I can send you a whole list, and you can send to your people, you know, a whole list with other authors, you know. So if you want to understand more about healing, or if you want to understand more about the potential that we have, I can give a huge list of other books.
So actually the person wants to know from where to start with. So you gave us some idea, he would start with this one.
Or actually he can even start with the Quantum Brain, you know, since we are here, because in this book, it's so complex, it's so simple, but it's really, really complex. And you understand about so many things which are happening. We are in the middle of these things. Again, to discover that the person can have dementia, I mean, an Alzheimer at 19 years old, that's critical.
Yes. That's true. Yeah, it's like an epidemic of Alzheimer's nowadays. Not just epidemic of diabetes or hypertension or heart disease, but epidemic of Alzheimer's as well. Yes.
Yes, but again, it's. I mean, some things are up to us, you know. And I mean, we were thinking of really. Initially, you know, we are thinking that eventually maybe the whole humanity will take a quantum leap together, you know, but nowadays we don't know about that anymore. Probably, again, it's about individual quantum leaps, and then we shall see what's going to happen, because the world is very, very much polarized. You see what's happening. And also now, especially after this COVID period, that brought up a lot of the human condition, you know.
There is another question for you, Doctor. The Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about healing and Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about epigenetics. They haven't actually completed the question, only this much they have written.
Okay, yeah, they are beautiful, but yeah, you can read books from them also, you know. They are, they have their own charisma and their own experiences, definitely. So yeah, that's too, if you, it's up to how you resonate. The idea, let me tell you a trick, you know, so that's why you go to a teacher, that's why you would go to a doctor, because you feel a resonance with that person, you know, because again, all this healing potential really exists inside of you. So again, for that, you don't need to go to a doctor, but you go to a doctor to get also what is called inspiration. You know, again, if this doctor speaks on the language of your heart, you know, and you can connect with the person. That's why, again, we have these principles in quantum science, and another one of them is called Tangle hierarchy. Yeah. So if you can relate, you know, if the relation with the person, you can have this kind of tangle hierarchical relation. Again, for example, one person going to a doctor, yeah, and that doctor, again, he knows, he has his own experience, he has worked through his transformational process, yeah, and he has grown, and he can mirror you in a certain way, yeah, in order to kind of yourself, you will trigger inside yourself that healing that exists there, you know. So that is important, you know. Again, if you resonate with certain teachers or certain doctors, it's good to see what they do, and then eventually, that's the idea, to get inspired. And then you think, what is inspiration? Inspired is when suddenly you feel free, suddenly you feel the courage to do something which otherwise you didn't feel that yourself capable of, you know. You feel that freedom. So the inspiration comes with this expansion of consciousness. So if you find this kind of expansion of consciousness with no matter whom, just do that, you know. But again, own your process eventually. You don't need to become dependent on absolutely nobody, you know. Again, a person, a developed doctor or a developed teacher will simply help you trigger inside of you something, a spark there. And then you need to continue in a conscious way using creativity, all that process, yeah. And just be aware that it's never a quick fix. You know, it's never gonna be a quick fix. It's no free meal there. So it will require work, and yeah, usually transformation is not something easy, really. So if you are fine with that, and you also have perseverance, then again, no matter where you start, no matter what comes to you, and your click, you feel like you have a click there with a person, then go for it. But go for it fully. If you, usually people just take 1-2 steps, they don't like it, they change to the other person, you know, and so on. So not like that.
There's a repeated request for the list of books by other authors too. So you have my number. If you could just WhatsApp them to me, I will put it on the group if it is not ready.
I'll do that. Excellent. So don't worry about that. I'll give you a long list of books, okay?
Now we have voracious readers on this group too. They love reading books. So
especially, that's not ready.
Yes.
Not ready, but it's very, very important. Actually, I think it's the most important to start with. You know, it's the easiest way to access what is called non-locality. Yeah, this is the first principle in quantum science. And again, whether you know or not about quantum science, non-locality is that when you can again you're facing a person and you can feel the same if the person is far away, and even if the person is not in this physical level anymore, it can be in some cases. So non-locality, again, is the biggest and the safest and the more clear gate towards really getting expanded. Yeah, that's what we want. First of all, we want this expansion of consciousness. That's another subject to go into. It's a big one. But again, non-locality, so really love practice. You know, love is the easiest gate towards this.
Another friend of mine wants to know what are the main areas we need to focus on to bring quantum leap in ourselves.
Yeah, okay. So then again, we have to go back to the chakras. Yeah. And understand, I mean, really, so we can. So the potential is that we can, but we don't know that we can. We don't even know what are our choices. So first, obviously, I would suggest to start with mental hygiene and see how are you with attention. You don't even know that iceberg that you are. You just know a little bit usually. So there's no other way. You have to start to see where you are. And then again, there are ways in quantum yoga. Again, we work with chakras, not just chakras. There's a whole explanation of quantum yoga. Yeah. Because the overall experiential goal of quantum yoga is what they call the ability to live and to act from expanded, inclusive state of consciousness. Yeah. So that's a short definition, if you want. But again, so start with mental hygiene practices. For example, a very easy one is to simply witness your breathing as much as possible. So especially in the morning and then in the evening, you know. And also I recommend you to start having a journal. That's essential. So I'm not taking patients without this journal. And I had a lot of patients with cancers of all kinds of types. So many kind of patients I had, you know, but again, with all of them, they all have to have this journal, because what I do, it's also a journey of transformation in the same time. So again, having a journal, you will see gradually what are those negative emotion-based circuits that keep repeating there, that are actually contracting you, you know, that are keeping you reduced to a deterministic way of living, you know, you're living in a small way, instead of really allowing yourself to be simply and expanded. So again, start with mental hygiene. For example, paying attention to your breathing, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, simply witnessing the air coming in through your nostrils and out, nothing else. And when the mind comes in, because it's a monk, don't fight it, because it's just a monk in there. Yeah. But again, constantly bring back immediately, as soon as you notice that the thought comes, just bring yourself back to the attention to witnessing the breathing. This will be an exercise. And then again, do this in the morning, do this in the evening, do this before an important meeting with somebody, especially with your lover, but not only. Yeah. And then again, keep this journal and write, for example, what is expanding you, what is contracting you. You don't have to go so back in the past, just see what's happening in that day for you. Yeah. That's a beginning. And then again, practice this abdominal breathing, which is again a very easy practice everybody can do. You don't need to know anything else, you know, just relax your abdomen. Even now you can see if you're using your abdomen, you're breathing or not. If your abdomen is contracted, it means you're stuck there, you know, and this area is the first area where the energy can collapse. So the first two chakras, Muladhara chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, they are very important as well. But again, the first chance of them to collapse and into a brain structure is at the level of the navel area. Yeah. So for that, you have to really, again, relax your abdomen and do simply. This is the simplest thing that can be recommended. Abdominal breathing. You can do it laying down or sitting with the back straight. Just maintain your attention also there. Yeah. And then again, you will see what's happening. And the things will come in your life. So for example, if you have to see also what's blocking your creativity. So before thinking of anything, you have to see what's blocking, what are the obstacles in your life. Yeah. Maybe it is a lack of forgiveness, for example. Yeah. So maybe something happened in the childhood. Most of the time something starts in the childhood, and you have to really address that. And for me, for example, yeah, there were all kinds of challenges in my childhood also. I had gifts also, but there were also challenges, and I couldn't really do this process of forgiveness only later on with my lover, you know. So we just did together this forgiveness practice. We have groups, and actually you can check my Instagram account, and in my Instagram you will see many recordings and many practices that are still there. So it's Valentina _Onisor. You'll find me there if you want. And then you will see also some practices of forgiveness, because again, forgiveness, as simply as it sounds, it's huge. I had recently my dentist, you know. So my dentist, she came to me after I went to her 2-3 times for checkups, my you know, and then she said, can you please help me? Because again, everything is good, anatomically speaking, but I cannot conceive, I cannot make a baby, you know. So she came to me and she was so pure and so honest. I said, yeah, definitely, let's do it. So I realized immediately after talking to her that she was holding on some lack of forgiveness and some shame related to her parents, So we worked, and it was enough 2 sessions. And then, okay, I recommended her some herbs and some food and some astrological moments, but it doesn't matter. This was less than the forgiveness did, So then after 2 months, she was already pregnant, and she tried so many things. So just to make you understand that forgiveness itself can unblock a lot of these blockages, which can be at all the levels. A lack of forgiveness can block all the levels in your being. Just you have to be aware of that, yeah. Because it keeps you gradually in a vicious circle. It's really like you're eating your own life, You're not allowing yourself to be happy, you're not allowing yourself to love, to be trusting life, and to believe in any higher capacities, So again, for example, lack of forgiveness can be an obstacle in manifesting your potentiality, yeah. And also manifesting a quantum leap. A quantum leap can happen if you practice forgiveness, if you really practice. But also when you do that, you have to be attentive not to expect for immediate results. Again, it's never immediate, but there are levels and levels. And eventually what will happen, it's a quantum leap that you will feel just gratitude and simply love pouring through your being. So no matter what happened in our past, we have to become responsible for that, yeah. So it's a lot. Again, you will find, I think, also a discussion about how to go from a victim mentality to the heroine mentality in my Instagram, I think. So yeah, there again, you have to see which are your blockages first of all. You have to know where you start from, and no matter what happened in our lives, we just have to own it. I have the courage and the love and to give ourselves this life of meaning and purpose, and learn that we can really co-create no matter where we are, no matter what we went through. Everything can improve, and you can get everything so much better that you can ever conceive if you start working on yourself, So again, forgiveness or various practices can help again on this part of unblocking these things. Of course, family can be a big block sometimes, in various ways. So you have to see which are the blockages, what are your inner blockages, what are the outer blockages, and all this is part of what we call science of manifestation. Now, in all the subjects, we go a lot in the university that we have created. So if you're interested, you can contact me. Again, first on Instagram, you can send me a message, or I can give you my email, or you can just go on amitgoswami.org, and then you will see what we do.